Hello everyone. This video is part 2 of the tips for an apartment makeover. In part 1, we were able to discuss some of my favorite tips when you're planning to make over your space. Alright, let's go for part 2. One of the main reasons why I like DIYs so much is simply because they are very cheap, or at least a cheaper alternative to a lot of decor that you may want to buy. Plus, I always feel like I am more creative when I am making something versus when I decide to buy it. That doesn't mean that I don't buy things when it comes to home decor. I really enjoy being able to purchase some of the things that I like, but I find that when I am making something like a candle holder or even a jewelry box, I find myself really thinking about what I want to create and how I want to make it mine. I also find myself being more adventurous as far as the shape that I choose to create or even the colors. I think that DIYs are also very freeing because you can change what you want and adapt it to your need. I personally knew that I really wanted to create jewelry boxes. I didn't know much about the process, but I knew I wanted something unique, and I also wanted for at least one of the boxes to have some sort of texture, which I achieved using paint, baking soda, and water. Finally, my incense burner is probably one of my favorite things I ever made. It wasn't very difficult, but it was also the third one I made, and I really like how it looks in each space I introduce it to. So far in this video and in part 1 as well, I definitely shared a lot of practical steps, which was intentional because I wanted to make sure that when you leave this video and the previous one, you are able to actually take some of the steps that I have talked about. However, I think there is also space to talk about how making over a space is also about a feeling. For instance, I personally really want to create and live in a peaceful home. And in order to create that space, I sort of reverse engineered the process. I knew I wanted somewhere that felt peaceful. And so I just took the time to ask myself what and how I could bring this feeling in my home. So basically what I did is think about materials that I felt were peaceful. A lot of them were very soft, very light in weight, which is why I have a lot of linen in my home. I also thought of glass and homemade home decor, nice smells, fresh flowers, or even golden accents. Once I had all of this sort of together, I went ahead and assembled all of this in my home. To me, this idea of bringing down a feeling into the physical world in a way is definitely what distinguishes a makeover that is not wrong, but just changing things or bringing in more things from something that feels more not only aligned, but also that you can feel when you walk into a room. And I think that when you take the time to actually think about the feeling that you want your space to embody, then you, in a way, create magic, because suddenly your space is not just about what is in there, but how it feels. And I found myself even more drawn into my home. This next tip is definitely to be understood as working with the previous one about bringing down a feeling into the physical world. I think that inspiration is very important in the process of making over a space. I have evolved on this subject. I definitely think that magazines, Pinterest, Instagram, TikToks, and other videos or social medias can definitely bring in some inspiration. And for a really long time, this is how I was inspired, by watching other content creators, being able to see how they create and sort of go from there to see what I want to create. I definitely think that this technique is still very valid, and if this feels aligned, then I absolutely believe that this is what you should do. However, personally, lately, I have not really been looking for inspiration in a traditional manner. Sometimes I do find inspiration in a book I am reading, but most times my source of inspiration isn't really tangible. For instance, a lot of the content that I created this month has been inspired by spring and feeling like I am waking up from winter. So I decided to just follow my creative impulse and create content around this. I think wherever you find inspiration from, it doesn't really matter as long as you feel good about it. If I remember correctly, I think there is an English saying that says, practice makes perfect, or something like that. Well, I think that when it comes to making over a space, trying, then trying again is definitely what will lead you, or at least has led me, down the right path. As much as I like a plan, and that is one of the first tips that I discussed, I am also aware that a lot of times what we thought we were going to do is not what we will do, and that's why it's important to adapt. I know for a fact that this last tip is something that I have discussed in this video and in previous videos on my channel as well. Taking your time is paramount when it comes to making over a space. As I've mentioned previously, sometimes you have to try and then try again. Now, the nuance in this statement resides in the fact that sometimes you have to let some time pass between when you've tried and then try again. Timing is very important, and just like I was talking about how inspired I am by spring, I know that if I had tried to shoot the content that I am producing right now in the middle of the winter, it never would have worked. Making over a space can take a really long time or be really short. It's all about listening in, because you are the best guidance on when to move and when to rest. Well, alright everyone, this is the end of part 2. I really hope that you enjoyed the apartment tips, makeover, and once again, I would love to hear from you in the comments down below, whether it's because you have tips that you would like to share, or maybe thoughts about this video and the previous one. As always, please like this video, share it with anyone you think would like it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content on home decor. I mentioned it in the previous video, but I wanted to say it again. I am creating short videos on TikTok and having a blast while doing so you can come say hello there as well. Thank you again and have a wonderful day. Bye!